Michelangelo's David. It's one of the most cherished pieces of art in the world. But this was not always the case. Unveiled on Piazza della Signoria in 1504, David was promptly stoned, while riots in 1527 took his arm off. For 3.5 centuries, David endured sweltering summers, freezing winters, and acid rain, before finally being moved inside the Galleria dell'Accademia. Though one would have thought David was now safe, he sustained yet more damage over the years, from misguided restorations and the hammer of a deranged artist who took off a toe in 1991. To celebrate David's 500th anniversary, his massive 209 square foot surface was restored, all while the museum remained open to the public.
The first day I will never forget. It was overwhelming. When I climbed to the top of the scaffolding and looked into his eyes, they were fearsome. Oh my God, so big.
Erano grandi così.
In David's eyes, I also felt the gaze of Michelangelo, and I was determined to honor this masterpiece that had been placed in my hands.
After 11 years of study and a false start using a dry method, the restoration began, employing a wet technique.
To remove the dirt that had penetrated deeper into the surface, I applied compresses of distilled water and clay called sapiolite, but not directly. In between, I placed handmade Japanese paper. This approach softened and drew the deep dirt out, which I then delicately removed millimeter by millimeter.
Millimetricamente ho rimosso lo sporco ammorbidito.
But some of the worst spots on David were caused by 2 very aggressive restorations in the 19th century that shockingly utilized hydrochloric acid and iron brushes. Beyond that, the marble itself is of very poor quality, poor enough that 2 sculptors rejected the original block, and it lay abandoned for decades before Michelangelo raised his chisel.
The inferior marble left David's surface littered with veins and holes known as terroli, caused by wrong marble positioning. So I had to be patient, filling them one by one with a matching mixture of colored marble dust and lime mortar.
Stuccato questi microbuchini. È un lavoro abbastanza lungo e meticoloso.
While now nearly flawless, David's arm, broken off during an anti-Medici uprising, had to be addressed. It's been said a bench hurled from Palazzo Vecchio took the arm off, breaking it into 9 pieces. Those repairs had to be stripped away, then replaced by new plaster and blended 1 stroke at a time.
At a towering 17 feet tall, David was difficult. All the twisting and leaning it took to reach the many curves was incredibly intense. But just as David faced Goliath and emerged victorious, I met my challenge. I as David, and David the sculpture as the giant.
Mi sono sentita io il David e lui il gigante.
Finally, after 5 centuries, this handsome colossus is once again being seen much as Michelangelo intended. The exquisite David is but one of Italy's countless artistic masterpieces. I hope you'll have the chance to explore Italy's many treasures.